So, Maxim, let me ask you this question. So, just to maybe take a step back here, what is the main kind of like business model? What are you selling from a Merico perspective? I know like DevStream, DevLake are open source, but are you monetizing those, or are those just components that you use in your product that you're actually selling?
So it's a great question. So today, DevStream and DevLake are open source and unmonetized, and that will stay the case for some time. As we've been building the DevLake community and the user base worldwide, we've identified some opportunities to remove kind of the headaches of implementation and management. We've had certainly kind of some of our larger enterprise users ask for more support than makes sense to give for free, and they're happy to pay for it. So we're actually in the process right now of really kind of putting together a product strategy of, what does kind of a managed hosted version of DevLake look like? So we plan to launch that most likely in Q4 of this year, where everyone will still be able to use DevLake for free as it is today. That will remain unchanged. But we will be debuting a paid solution for those who maybe want to go a bit further, get better support, maybe more customization. We're still in the figuring out mode for that.
Okay. But your main product is Merico Analytics, right? And that's what most people are purchasing from you today.
That's correct. So yeah, to speak to the relationship there, because there's so many complex pieces of this, and I'll do my best to articulate it simply. So DevStream in a nutshell is our answer to the question of, well, if I don't have a strong DevOps tool chain, how do I get started? DevStream's our answer to that. It's an open source package manager that lets smaller or less mature teams set up, connect, and replicate a great DevOps tool chain. DevLake is the answer to the question of, well, now I've got this tool chain, I've got great processes and a strong team. How do I make sure that we're doing the right things and that our process is working and that we're not running into hidden bottlenecks, and that when we're finding successes, we know why and can scale them? DevLake is the answer to that question. Then we do have our open core proprietary product, which is Dev Insight, which is what we're monetizing today. And that's much more oriented around kind of contribution analysis, code quality signals, static analysis, reports, and kind of permissioning that's more oriented towards kind of the executive user in larger companies. And the relationship between all three of these things, right, is if we execute how we hope we can, and we are today, with DevStream, we'll be helping bring the kind of engineering ecosystem at large up to speed with the latest and greatest with DevOps tooling. With DevLake, we're going to help them to maximize the impact of that and get a complete read on their delivery process. And then our hopeful expectation is that companies that have maximized DevLake are naturally going to want to start looking deeper, right? They're going to want to start understanding, what's actually going on in our code base? How good is our code? Where are there kind of quality concerns or security risks? And, I think if we play our cards right, they will believe in us, they'll trust us, they'll know we know what we're doing. They'll continue using DevLake, and then they'll attach Dev Insights to their process to get, a truly complete picture.
Yeah, this is an interesting, because this is a very classic open core, but there's a nuance here that I wanted to point out, because it sounds like DevStream is part of the infrastructure, the glue, but on its own, it's more of just a requirement for you to do everything else. So open sourcing that smaller component is a common tactic a lot of companies will do, because it has value as a standalone, but maybe it's not part of the broader product strategy. And that's how a lot of companies start in the open source space, is have one or two tools that are ancillary to their product space, and then get that out there, because they need that for ultimately what they're trying to commercialize.
Exactly. And something you said there that I really liked is that they stand alone. And I think that's such an important piece, right? Is you don't want to be giving out free printers and then charging thousands of dollars for ink. I think that's
maybe you do. I mean, like,
yeah.
I mean, like,
but it's something I'm very proud of, our whole team for kind of figuring out, and I think is reflective of our own personal values as a collective is that none of what we're doing is kind of exploitative in that sense, right? Where it's like you can use those free things on their own, maximize their capability forever without paying us a cent. And I think that's a good thing. However, for those companies that are looking to really become data-driven engineering organizations, we have the full set of solutions for them. One of which they can ultimately pay for. But I do like that point, right? That it's my personal values that I love seeing the companies that are not necessarily kind of creating this kind of printer and cartridge model that kind of tricks people into using something that they'll have to pay for to really see value.